Hey everyone, Dratlaw44 here. I hope you are all keeping safe and well today. Now in this video I am going to be talking a little bit about the armor and the skills that I have on it. I've changed a few things since my last video, and then I'll be talking about the boss, of course, the Tatarimokke, and going through that. If you do want to skip to 7 minutes 22, that is when the boss fight actually starts, and I'll be going through that guide. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be shortly showing some skills and things that I have set on my actual armor, and then just a few other things that I do just to check before a boss fight, just to kind of go through a few things. Now, with regards to my equipment, you can still see I'm using the Nioh knives. Got them up to 491 now, so pretty good as regards to power. You can see the skills, I've covered that in another video. It's got grapple, sign of the cross damage, and poison accumulation. Now I've got the cannon and the rifle, although not the most handy things against the boss. And then I've got the Kamatachi helmet, 2.2 in weight. I've tried to keep all my gear light to basically get an ace on my lightness or on my sort of agility status. Got a quick attack damage, 0.9%, always helpful. A bit more running speed, which is useful. Some realm resistance always helps with the Kai. Kadama sensor, not necessarily good for the fight, and then Kai bonus Amrita gauge B+. It's the highest I've got at the moment, but basically gain more Kai. Always handy. Now the other pieces I've been using are the SHAREfactory garbs. You'll notice that 3 of them are SHAREfactory garbs and 1 is not. I'll go with that in a little bit as to why, and it's just one of those things. Actually, it's a bit unfortunate. So with this one, literally again, weight 2.4, so keeping it nice and light, or as light as I possibly can regarding the gauntlets. The damage taken versus yokai, minus 2%, so again, you fight a lot of yokai. Equipment drop rate is generic, so just against anything, and defense bonus Amrita gauge B+ as well, so I gain more defense the more Amrita I have. Forces winded recovery, just to gain sort of Kai quicker after it's been fully depleted. It doesn't stack, so just make sure you have it if you can on one piece. Do not put it on multiple, because you will not get more benefits, unfortunately. I thought it might, but it doesn't. It makes no difference. And it's part of a set, this particular one as well. So with this one, you do gain some additional bonuses. Now, I was a little bit gutted because the bottom one doesn't count, but as you can see, I get item drop rate versus yokai and stealth, but I would have had melee damage versus yokai as well at 5.5%. I don't know why the bottom one, the greaves, don't count as the same set. I've got no idea, but however, that's the way it is. Again, you can see with this one, windstorm damage, which actually is an attack I use. It's basically where I spin round. You'll see that probably quite a lot. 8.9, I was well happy with getting that one. The actual braces are light as well at 1.2 weight, so pretty good. And attack plus 12. I did customize these. I went into the blacksmith and I went through the skills. The garbs are just, again, very similar, just a bit of extra life, and Kai recovery bonus as well, B+ for the Amrita. So again, I might have had 2 of them actually, so I'll have to check that. And then the last one is just a bit of fire damage and Jujitsu power. That one doesn't count as a set. And then I've just got the 2 charms, which are the same as they were before. So nothing has changed there. Now what I always do normally is I'll go to the learn skills section and always just check my points, make sure what I'm benefiting from. As you can see, I've got 4 points. Now these skills I am not using as such, so I usually go for passives like this one. So of course I get 4% extra damage when you've got dual swords as your main weapon. I've got dual swords. You'd naturally go onto the weapon you were using and do the same thing. Maximum Kai increases by plus 20. Again, another excellent passive, so always good. And some of them you can see are locked behind other missions, so I can't get those ones yet. This one is again in full health. You can make sort of like extra damage and things, which is always good. And then you can sort of see that some of the others are not so great. I think there's a passive one, yeah, the Kai recovery speed, well, guarding 15% when you have dual swords equipped as your main weapon. So straight away you can see those ones are beneficial. You don't have to have them, but they're very handy indeed. Now, as regards to magic, I mean, it's always worth sort of having a look through. The Tatarimokke is weak to purification and fire. So if you want to use those, I'd always advise to stack up on those damages, because you will do lots and lots of extra damage. Now, normally what I'm doing here is I'm just going through sort of like what ones are handy, kind of like the resistance, for example, you know, always a good one to have against poison and paralysis, because let's face it, that comes up a lot. And then ones that maybe up your defense, increase your magic, or you know, kind of increase your resistance. You know, these boost basically the resistance talismans and things like that. So again, these are passives, but they're very, very useful. I would normally go through the shifting and the other one, but I didn't in this video particularly, because again, that is all dependent on what you build you've got and what you're using. You usually will know what you're best off looking at. I'd always recommend to keep checking these, because let's face it, extra skills, anything that makes you a little bit more able to deal damage is very handy. This one is very good. It's like literally a kind of like a paralysis kind of, I don't know, trap, whatever. It works very effectively against humans more than yokai, but it does work against some yokai as well. So it is something that's well worth having, and that's something that I didn't use in the actual boss fight, but it is something that's very, very useful indeed to have. Now, as regards to that, that is pretty much it for those skills. So what I normally then do is I would go to titles. This is the last bit to check. I always just check to see if I've unlocked anything, because you gain prestige points, and of course if you haven't spent them, you gain extra things. So as you can see what's on there. I thought elemental damage taken, let's face it, always taking those. Anima, useful, and anima charge, because I use Yatsu quite a lot. And yokai ability damage, same thing, a bit more ability damage as a yokai. Realm resistance never hurts, a bit more anima charge, and a bit more anima for the gauge. Always useful. You can press then R1 and move on to the other one, and you can see that there's other options. I chose, of course, Nejitsu, and I believe elixir efficiency, which, you know, I mean, it's one of those things, it's always nice just to have some extra elixirs. So that is it regarding what I'm using at the moment. So I'm going to be moving on then shortly to the actual boss fight and talk you through that. Okay, so we're now moving on to the actual boss fight with, of course, that lovely owl boss, the Tatarimokke. Now, I did fight him a first time, and unfortunately I didn't realise a couple of things, which is easy to do, so I actually then summoned in a friend, just to, like, or a kind of like one of them blue sort of stones, just to get him in. Now, this is just the part of the intro bit. So yeah, this is pretty cool, and I always love the intros towards the bosses, so we'll watch this before I then talk through the rest of it then. Fantastic. Right, okay, so basically I use the AI version as a distraction. The bird will do multiple attacks. Now, he'll do a kind of like a claw attack, like so. He also does usually 2 peck attacks, and he usually does 2 other attacks. Now, this is the part that challenges you, because he calls in a darkness. Now, what a lot of people don't realise is that there is this orb here, which you will have seen earlier in the level. Now, unfortunately, the downside is, as you can see, the bird or the owl attacks you while you're doing it. So if you're not using anyone else with you, just chip away at it, back off, chip away. Now, when this happens, he gets stunned. Unfortunately, I ran up to try and sort of grapple damage him, and unfortunately, he got away. He's too far away. He will fire those little globe things, and he will do 2 wing swipe attacks. He's a pain, there's no doubt, and that is the thing. Shouldn't be the most difficult boss, but he is. Now with that one, the big red sort of like burst attack, you really want to burst counter it ideally. If you miss, he does a spin, and unfortunately, you know, he can do a lot of damage. So yeah. But as you can see, I mean, my AI friend is actually doing a lot and taking some of the heat off me with the laser and the other bits, and this enables me to run up and actually try and poison him. He's not very like prone. Like Yatsu is not very effective against him in like whereas a lot of bosses it really is. This one isn't because he flies a lot, and he's a pain. And of course, when it's dark and things and you can't see him, and all you can see is the red eyes, yeah, it's a real drag. But as you can see, this is now actually a proper example. You can stab him, and of course, then you do major damage. Now, like with anything, I would make sure that you're guarding, you're keeping healing, don't get over cocky, try and avoid the eye laser and the double claw or the double peck attacks or the wing attacks, because he'll always tend to do two. And that is just one of those things. Now, of course, just to finish him off now, I'm going to actually use the Guardian to finish him, and as you can see, that is easily done. Now, I didn't get the soul core with this one, so I don't know why. It's one of those things, but like anything, that is a bit of a breakdown of how you can beat him. So if that helps and that was beneficial and makes it easier in the fight, please drop a like or drop a comment if there's any feedback you wish to leave. Like and subscribe if you want to follow more updated videos. But that otherwise is pretty much it from me. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch. I hope you have a great day, and I will speak to you in the next video. All the best. Cheers now. Take care. Bye-bye.